Have you had a God encounter? Hello, I'm Eddie Lawrence, and here's today's devotional thought. In Mark chapter 9, verse 2 and following is the account of the transfiguration of Jesus. He takes Peter, James, and John up on top of a high mountain, and he's transfigured before them. Now, when you read Mark's, Matthew's, and Luke's account of this, I think there's a lot of textual evidence that this happened in the darkness of night. Because Luke tells us the disciples were heavy with sleep and had a hard time staying awake. They woke up and Jesus was transfigured before them. Now that word transfigured, what that means is the Shekinah glory of God that was always resident within Jesus. It's like the Lord unzipped that and it spilled out. And there was a brightness, a majesty, like whiter than snow, like lightning, if you would. And I believe, personally, they got a glimpse of second coming glory. You know, Jesus had just promised them that some of them would not taste death until they see the kingdom coming in power. And this may have had, there may be a connection between these two events, as well as Pentecost and even John's and Peter's, what they saw in the future. But the point today is that these disciples had a God encounter. They saw Moses and Elijah appearing and talking with Jesus. They represented the law and the prophets. When it was over, a cloud came upon them, and they heard the Father's voice said, "This is my Son, you hear him." In other words, the law and the prophets, yes, I've spoke through those, but now listen to Jesus. Interesting, too, in the middle of this, Peter, as Peter does, he kind of interrupts Jesus while he's talking with Moses and Elijah and suggests starting a building program. It's good to be here. Let us build 3 booths. That's Peter. But interestingly, Mark tells us that Peter basically starts talking because he was afraid and didn't know what to say. And, you know, people do that. Sometimes you get nervous or fearful. They start talking. Well, in this case, that's Peter. Don't interrupt Jesus when he's talking, okay? And particularly if he's talking to Moses and Elijah. Have you noticed how the enemy wants to interrupt you when you're reading the scriptures, Old or New Testament, when you're trying to spend time with the Lord? He tries to interrupt you all the time. So that's never a good thing. And by the way, don't start giving Jesus ideas of what he needs to do when he's in the middle of doing something that you need. Because Peter's like, let's build 3 booths. Let's just stay here. In other words, we're having this God encounter. This is the spout where the glory comes out. Let's just build a place and stay right here. And we can get in that flow too, can't we? Like, oh, God did this right here, so we're just going to camp out right here. No, a lot of times when you have a God encounter, he has a purpose for that, and that purpose is often to prepare you for what you're going to face later. Jesus had just been teaching them he's going to be executed and killed, and Peter kind of got in the way of that too. But Peter later, in his later years, would write and talk about this event when he saw the majesty of God there on high on the holy mount. It marked him. It instilled something in him that he would need for all the assaults, all the attacks, and all the battles to come. Thank God for God encounters. And I pray that you have a God encounter, and we want to know his presence. We want to know his power. He's with us whether we feel him or not, but thank God for those times when his glory manifests. Amen. Well, got to go today, but I speak blessing over you. Pray you have a good day. Please share this with others.